Well, I'm so curious about your story and what inspired you to found Nightingale Wealth Solutions. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up in Massachusetts as well, and I had a single dad. We were going through a really horrible divorce with a my mother had a lot of issues, and it was a very drawn out process. And at the time, though, before she was a doctor, she was one of the heads of the ER. And she unfortunately had a lot of substance abuse issues and some other things that came up over time. So our dad, who is absolutely amazing, fought to make sure that we were going to be safe. So throughout that process, we went from a household with making over $350,000 a year, 5,000 square foot house, right in the beautiful suburbs, great school system, everything else that you could ask for childhood growing up, to living in a 2-bedroom apartment on Route 9 with 3 of us there, and for a while, 4 of us, after one of my brothers came home from college. And it was just a very big lifestyle change. And I'll never forget when my dad was driving me to basketball practice, and he had his hand on the windowsill of the truck we were driving. He's dropping me off, and I looked at him. I could just tell something was wrong. And I said, "What's going on?" And he just looked at me, and it was kind of just this moment of succumbing and to just the circumstance. And he just looked at me and said, "We have $25 to last the end of the week, and I don't know how we're going to get there." And it was quite an experience, going through a foreclosure, going through a divorce, and coming out the other side. So, I loved horseback riding. I worked for my lessons, mucking stalls and doing all of that throughout the time. And I had a really, really fantastic teacher. She really was like my mom, and she taught me so much about life, so much about integrity, hard work, and what it really meant to push yourself and push yourself beyond what maybe the realms of what you thought were possible at the time. So fast forward, I put myself through college at UMass Amherst. I was in a business school there. I graduated with a degree in finance. I worked in corporate finance at State Street Bank for a few years. And then I came home, told my husband, "I got a promotion. I'm going to be a VP. This is going to be awesome." And he just looked at me and said, "I don't even see you now for dinner. What does this look like when we have kids?" And I was like, "Oh." And a lot of people for many, many years have been telling me to be a financial advisor. A lot of friends and family have been asking me for advice. So I decided, he's like, "I just think you should try it. We don't have a mortgage right now. We're in such a good place. Just go for it. We don't have kids. Let's go." So I quit my job. I got licensed, became a financial advisor, and then 3 months later, I broke my neck. And I was paralyzed from the shoulders down. I had a spinal fusion, C5 and C6, and I had to go through living at Spalding and in the ICU, learning how to walk, eat, get dressed, everything all over again. And this experience was very eye-opening, especially because I was 27 at the time, and I knew that most people didn't have their house paid off. Most people didn't have a savings account like we did. Most people hadn't made or done a lot of the things to put us in the situation where, even though I went through this horrible circumstance, that not only was I going to be okay because we had saved up enough to get me the treatments and therapies that I needed to get back on my feet, but beyond that, if something did happen to me and I didn't make it through, then my husband was going to be okay, and he was going to be fine financially, and that wasn't going to be something that completely decimated his life as well. So I think that really opened my eyes to the fact of how vitally important financial planning is, and how few people truly end up seeing what that looks like in practice, to live through an experience where you have to be fed, where somebody has to help you put your socks and shoes on. And if anybody knows me, having to wear Velcro sneakers versus what I usually wear was a very big eye-opening experience that, I'll never forget. And it took me, a long time to recover. I still have some physical disabilities and some neurological deficiencies that I'm still working through that I know that I'm going to be able to recover from. But I think that was really important. So if going through that whole experience, being so passionate about just, doing the right thing by people and for people, and being able to share my experience, and if that helps to change a few people's lives, I was like, I have to just this is something that I feel like I have to share with the world. And I think it's really important when you want to be in a place that feels authentic to you. And I think that's what's really pushed me out to start my own firm. And all of the people that have joined our firm since, they share that. They all have these amazing stories, whether it's from being an immigrant or in a complex family situation, and the integrity and the values they stand behind. I think that's really what makes our firm unique.